Yeah, come on. Live from your non-binary credit risk score. We don't do any of that stuff, do we? Do we do?
I didn't realize credit risk was genderized at all.
It's a Business Pants Friday show here at March 28th Studios featuring analyst Matt Moscardi. Yes,
I am here.
Matt, I keep seeing that they call you an executive director at MSCI. Does that mean were you on the board? Were you on the board of MSCI?
I think every article that I've ever been quoted in that says that really wants me to sound more important than guy who does something on a podcast.
On today's weekly wrap-up, more slimy car salesmen. Do we need more of that? Who fake worship Nikola Tesla.
Oh, is that a class of human being?
There's just a strange story today, Matt, that brings everything together in one weird moment.
Our whole world. I don't like our world anymore.
Why selling stickers is a way better business model than selling director data.
That I can confirm.
And middle school oil men tree huggers. Everyone's from middle school these days.
It is. It's a world full of middle school men cosplaying as adults.
Our show today is being sponsored by FreeFlowAnalytics.com, the only platform measuring board power, connections, and performance for free. Maybe that's why FreeFlow Analytics doesn't make more than sticker makers, because it's free. Maybe that's the problem.
Oh, no. Well, let's say this. FreeFlow Analytics, what they've done incredibly well is show everybody this massive amount of free data and not tell anybody, this is what they've done poorly, that there is so much more data that they could buy if they wanted to. Like, so much more. It's like an ungodly amount of more. I'm not feeling anything this week. I feel like...
You called yourself brain dead.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It's like there was such a rush of stuff.
You said you wished you were born in the year 1855. I'm worried for you.
Well, think about it. If I was born in the year 1855 as a white heterosexual male to an upper middle class family in New England.
Yes, you would have missed the war.
Fucking aristocracy, baby.
You would have missed the Civil War.
I missed the Civil War. I'm too old to go to World War I. Yep. I see, some gyrations in the market or whatever, but what am I doing? I'm probably running a local store in my local community. The only people I know or care about are 3 people around me. I have a couple of kids, and my teeth fall out.
Isn't that basically what's happening now, though?
Yeah, but at least then I didn't know better. Sure. Yeah. Let's do story of the week before I keel over.
Actually, I'll just start right with the story I teased, because this is just too bizarre, and it's almost like the company's come full circle. Because Matt, we were originally laughing about this years ago. Probably the only ESG news, financial news, business news that really spent some good time on this weirdo, this former convict.
Man baby? Boy baby.
But let me start with this headline to ease into the bigger story. First of all, I like this one. White House says Elon Musk is helping them figure out how a reporter was added to a secret Signal group chat. I mean, this is the state of our world, Matt. This is how dumb it is.
Did they call him up there like, hey, Elon, do you understand Signal at all? When I hit the plus button on adding people,
I tell everyone, I've been telling everyone for years, especially when you're writing a text or an email and you're worried about what the content of, you're worried about who you're going to share it with. Do the body of the email or text first and then add the recipients into the 2 lines. Just that way you don't accidentally hit send, or you can double check your work, right? It's pretty simple.
Alternate theory.
Yeah.
Don't write something that you're going to regret writing. Right? Yep. It doesn't seem like that hard.
When and where you're going to bomb people for no good reason.
I don't even want to spend much time talking about that story.
Okay, let's not. Let's move on.
The level of, in fact, Hillary Clinton summed it up for me in her op-ed. And I'm not a massive Hillary Clinton fan in any way. Yep. But she just wrote, "This is dumb." That's where we're at.
That's the setup for the...
That's where we're at.
For my first story of the week. Because, so you think of that guy, that middle school buddy boy Tesla CEO, Elon Musk, right?
Yep.
But how about this? How about rival EV car company Nikola? Yes, there was another middle school bro who named his company after the first name of Nikola Tesla. Not so it's true, Matt. There was an EV company called Nikola, which was so riddled in fraud.
So unique.
Which was so riddled in fraud, everything was made up, including the fact that he named his company basically Tesla adjacent. I think that was all part of the fraud of this guy, Trevor Milton. Milton was convicted in 2022 of crimes related to defrauding investors with misrepresentations about the success of the electric and hydrogen-powered trucks that he was purportedly making. And as of yesterday, Nikola founder Trevor Milton says Trump pardoned him in securities fraud case. I was shocked when I read this. So a little bit of some more background. First of all, Milton made this is all after he was convicted. Made significant political donations to Republicans in late 2024, including about $1 million to the Trump 47 committee. This is a man who never previously made political donations. He also gave about $2 million to Republicans. So I think he knew what he was doing.
Where did he get $2 million when you're a fraudster? And aren't they supposed to take your money from you?
So the pardon came 2 weeks after federal prosecutors urged a district court judge to order Milton to pay restitution of almost $700 million to Nikola shareholders. Right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And
yeah.
here is the ultra douchey middle school bro tech CEO oligarch response to this. He said, "Quote." Oh my! Of course, he's doing all this on an Instagram video, Matt, while driving.
Well, not X.
None of this is made up. But none of this is made up. He's driving his car while doing this on Instagram of all places, where isn't that where teenagers hang out? But this is what he said: "Quote, oh my gosh, you won't believe what just happened. Probably the best day I've had in 5 years. I would think it's the best day ever, right?
Ever, right?
But in 5 years." I just got a call from the president, and he signed my full and unconditional pardon of innocence. I am free. The prosecutors can no longer hurt me. They can't destroy my family, blah, blah, blah. The pardon is not just about me. It's about every American who has been railroaded by the government.
Yeah.
And he said that there are striking similarities between his case and those brought against President Trump. So he's already into mushmouth.
I'm not a fan of anything you just said.
Craziness, right?
First of all,
Craziness.
We are 100% going to look back on 2024 as the greatest trade in the history of trades on Wall Street or anywhere is donating to the Republican Party, because you could have done anything before that. Andrew Tate, Trevor Milton, Elon Musk. You could be Sig Heiling. You could be anything at all. But if you gave some number above $1 million to Donald Trump in 2024, you are almost guaranteed to never have accountability again. That's the meritocracy at work, baby. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. And to draw this story to conclusion, I want some other parallels with Elon Musk include just all the lies. First of all, the infamous story being that he was demonstrating one of his trucks, but really the truck was on a hill going
they
down.
Rolled it down a hill. That's correct.
Going down. So he was using gravity to prove that the truck was working well. He also put tape over the company's name of parts of the truck that he didn't actually build. He had used other suppliers' parts, but claimed that he was building them and just put tape over the brand names. He lied about producing hydrogen in-house at prices competitive. There's so many lies, but this is my favorite point because it's very much like Kimball Musk. Trevor had appointed his brother, Travis, as the director of hydrogen production and infrastructure. And as far as we know, Travis's prior experience is mostly pouring concrete driveways and doing subcontractor work in Hawaii. So this is the whole manosphere, the whole middle school CEO brosphere.
It's not even
just
brosphere.
coming.
It is. They're
go
middle
ahead.
schoolers. This is like. And did you know that Pam Bondi, the current Attorney General of the United States, her brother is the one who represented Trevor Milton in his original trial, right? Like,
okay, there you go. Yeah. And I'm sure there's 100 other tidbits that I'm leaving out here of how
the shocking part is like the people who pay, right? Like, I know, Trevor, you've been so hurt and damaged, and this has ruined your family. Not that you had any culpability in rolling a fucking truck down a hill. Not that that was you or in any way like you're the fraudster, but the government railroaded you. But the people who would lose, the $700 billion of restitution went to shareholders who invested in your company based on the plethora of demonstrable lies that you told. Now, those shareholders, they lose that money, and there's no way to get it back. It's done.
Yeah, the pardon ends
so
any restitution.
Nikola was a listed company, which means it gets put on indexes. Inevitably, it's put on indexes all over the place. Indexes are what retail investors typically use when you buy an ETF. So you're talking about not just like, some hedge fund who's a billionaire losing some money. You were talking about retirees who didn't choose to invest in Nikola, but Nikola managed to bilk them out of millions of dollars in their retirement funds.
Some of those retirees, it's a significant part of their savings.
So this is a bonanza for the unaccountable fraudsters. This is like, forget kleptocracy, because this doesn't look like Trevor Milton took $700 million from investors because of the timeline and the way it happened, but that's exactly what happened. He managed to somehow give $2 million while indebted $700 million to investors.
And let's not forget, this was not a politically motivated SEC in the first place, because all of his givings happened after the case. He wasn't like previously giving so much to Republican institutions that the SEC decided to have a political witch hunt and just catch the guy. They caught the guy because he's perpetrating fraud. Fraud. He was a fraudster. He was bilking shareholders out of hundreds of millions of dollars. So anyway, that's the first.
I don't
story.
like it. This is why I want to go back to 1855.
That's a pretty big one.
At least in 1855, I feel like I wouldn't have heard about this.
So if anyone's ever asking you to have a uncomfortable conversation between like DEI versus the meritocracy, use this story to bolster your case that the meritocracy is a sham. It's a joke. It's a meaningless.
I mean, and I should say, in 1855,
right.
women had no rights, and neither did any people. The people of color, slavery was still a thing in the United States. Segregation, civil rights.
Well, you were only
exist. But I am a white heterosexual male.
You were only a child.
What I'm saying is, I could have put on earmuffs and existed quite happily, not hearing about anything. That's all I'm saying. It's a horrible time, but I'm just saying it's feels less horrible.
Second story of the week. The second story of the week is a partnership between DoorDash and Klarna. Here's the headline: that $20 burrito you order from DoorDash could now cost you $70. So the delivery platform DoorDash and the about to IPO payment company Klarna have I can't even believe this is real. Have announced a partnership through which customers will be able to buy now, pay later on food orders.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
What do you think the minimum you could buy now and pay later is? Like, could I get like a package of condoms for DoorDash? Is there a minimum?
Well, initially the reporting does say that for purchases above $35. So that's these days that's 2 cheeseburgers.
I can get 4 eggs.
Yeah, that's the second story of the week. The third story, how about this one? We've covered a lot of the heiresses of family wealth that have opinions. We've talked about Mary Trump. We've talked about Abigail Disney. Now it's I don't have her name written down here. Is it Alice? Walton? Christy Walton. Here's the headline. Christy Walton. Walmart heiress worth $18 billion quietly enters political discourse with New York Times ad declaring, quote, The dignity of our country is not for sale, end quote. I just wanted to tell you a little bit of the dignity of the company where she
had the $18 billion,
amassed the $18 billion. First of all, the CEO pay ratio in 2024, according to the recent proxy, this is for Doug McMillan, I believe, CEO Doug McMillan, 976 to 1. That's one of the larger figures we've seen. The median associate at Walmart makes less than $28,000. I have no idea how they can like afford anything with $28,000 a year. And that figure, Matt, is after the company excluded 5% of their total workers, approximately 100,000 associates outside of the U.S. So imagine how little they were paying those 100,000 people they excluded. Probably
but let's
to the
be
dollar.
Clear a little bit here.
Yeah.
In our expectations of Christy Walton. So Christy married into the Walton family. Okay, so
that's an interesting footnote to the story. Yes, not even a.
She had nothing to do with the Walton Empire. She just met Johnny T. Walton, and
who died in a plane crash. I think it was Jim Todd. I don't know. It was a Walton who died in the plane crash, and you're right. She inherited. His billions.
It's not. It's not totally like wouldn't be totally out of character. It's not like a Walton said, "Our country's not for sale."
Well, she's not giving. I'm just saying she's not giving the money back. Is all I'm saying. The other part I like about this is that really what she's hinting at an oligarchy. She's hinting at this this authoritarian rule that's coming out of the new CEO in the White House. But let's remind people too about the Walmart company. The Walton family alone controls 46% of the vote and 63% of the board, including the board chair Greg Penner, who is the son-in-law of Rob Walton. So, yeah, you're right, Matt. She married into the family wealth, but the own company where she got all the wealth is itself a dictatorship.
Well, let's call this case study number 2 in the meritocracy. We've got Trevor Milton and now Walton heiress. We'll call that.
Yeah, so maybe she can do more than take out ads. Anyway, I just wanted to highlight some of that. That's
probably. So I just want to.
The third story of the week. I have two more kind of throwaway stories that I just wanted to cover. First, I love this one. Proxy advisors, ISS and Glass Lewis recommend re-election of BP leadership. Everybody. In fact, they found they could find nobody to vote out, despite all the short-term chaos. They got activist investors just after them for everything. I mean, Lord knows why. Stock down 10% since last year. But Matt, what about they couldn't even highlight? What about accountant Tushar Morzaria? He's on the board of BP. He has the second worst average, hitting 359. He is the lowest TSR on the board at 306. He's an accountant on a board that already has 37% of the influence is economics and accounting expertise, 4 times any other skill. He's completely meaningless, a low performer. Come on, Glass Lewis and ISS. At least reach out to Free Flow Analytics and
there's an effort by a number of sort of climate focused shareholders to vote against Helge Lund, the chair, right?
Chair.
And the reason why is because the company basically rescinded all of its climate targets. I mean, everybody else is rescinding them too, but BP rescinded them late, gave no explanation, didn't talk to shareholders about it. And so the conversation here is there's no transparency into how these decisions get made. Protest vote against the chair. ISS and Glass Lewis both weighed in on that. And they said, while we understand concerns, we do not think it's the place of shareholders to basically expect that level of transparency. We will monitor the company in the future.
Well, good. Good
they're monitoring things.
But again, there was not a single tweak they could make. There was no other set of skills or expertise that maybe they thought would be good on a board where about 40% of the knowledge is based in accounting. So but you know what, Matt? despite the fact that the data at freefloatanalytics.com is free, I don't know if they have access to that data. Maybe there are. Actually, no, we do have some. There are some logins from
we have
either
there are
Glass Lewis
people
or
from
ISS.
Glass Lewis and ISS who have logged into the Free Float platform.
So maybe they need to reach out to us and we can kind of.
I don't think they understand.
Maybe we can.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Okay. I just wanted to throw that in. That was a bit of a sales pitch there. And finally, the fifth story of the week. I don't even know why I'm including this. I don't usually include this kind of stuff, but it just kind of hit me hard. American worker confidence just hit a record low and is even worse than it was during the darkest days of the pandemic.
That's not good.
I don't like that. So it's on a scale from minus 100 to plus 100. It's down to plus 24 in February. For comparison, at the outset of the pandemic, at its worst, the confidence sunk to 29. So it's even below that.
What's the point of
number.
having it go to minus 100 if at its worst it was at 29?
I don't understand the scale. I just know that the workers themselves are upset. For good reason, because they're listening to our shows and they're hearing about all these crazy CEO.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know how to weigh in on this. Although,
yeah, I don't know. Those are your crazy stories.
I think the story of the week. I mean, the story of the week clearly is one that's not here, and it's the Signal chat leak.
Well, no, it's there. It's part of my.
Yeah,
Trevor
I
Milton
know,
story.
but like, it's.
But I didn't know how to fold that into the kind of stories.
Yeah,
that
it's
we
kind of
cover,
not our
right?
story. It's just like abject stupidity. So,
because I was gonna attack Signal because I hate all those all the companies that let you have post messages that disappear, that you can do. They're encrypted. You can do any crime you want. You can get away with anything. You can sell children. You can deal drugs. Like, but
it's not a
Signal's
Signal
fault
problem
here.
to me. It's like it's
not
like,
at all.
Like,
No.
look, what we've done is degrade and debase the value of professionalism. That's all we've done. Like being a professional, being an expert, being smart. Like we're attacking colleges in this country. We're attacking law firms now. We're attacking hospitals, doctors. The science. All the sciences, scientists everywhere. We are actively attacking anything resembling professional adulting. We are replacing it with anything resembling man-baby middle school cosplaying as adults.
Basically, I was going to say, basically everything you start to learn your first year of high school, that's what we're starting to attack.
like Wedgie Musk is running away from, like, building companies on science, right? Like electric vehicles, spaceships. Like these are all leveraging hundreds of years of scientific achievement in understanding that all of which is government funded. Forget the company, which has made billions of dollars in subsidies from the American government. Just think about the science required to do any of the shit that he's done. In fact, I saw an epic quote from Sandy Weil. Sandy Weil was the ex-city chairman and CEO. He said his Weil Foundation just gave a $50 million grant to cancer research, immunotherapies, and like he wants to. And like there's a press conference, and he's talking at a conference. He's talking about himself and the important things. He actually said when he was on stage that government doesn't effectively, and I'm paraphrasing here, government effectively does not take risk. They don't have the balls to take risk. The private sector does. However, that is patently false. Government is the one who takes every bit of research that has nowhere to go, that has potential, and funds it because they can afford to lose. They don't have shareholders.
Yeah, there's so
they don't
much
have earnings calls.
There's so much federal funding into our great academic institutions in this country. So much.
Every great invention, almost every single one, has come on the back of government investment, like microwaves, telephones, internet, space travel.
And you're right, because
what the fuck are you talking about?
Because the universities don't have to answer to shareholders. They're not trying to make an immediate profit from scientific discovery. The scientists there, they have room to fail and to succeed, and you're absolutely right. I mean, without those seeds, Elon Musk couldn't exist. But of course, he knows this.
Well, he knows this. These are people like Nikola. Even your ability to roll, Trevor. I just want to let you know, even your ability to roll the truck downhill and watch it roll, it took somebody investing in understanding of gravity to make it possible for you to know how that truck was going to roll. To build everything you've built, some portion of everything was funded by a government subsidy, by a government grant, by someone who didn't need a return on their investment, right? Like they viewed this as a potential public good. I mean, we don't go to space if not for that.
Really, the only thing in his bio that the government or the academics didn't help him with were these allegations of sexual misconduct in 2020 reported by the Wall Street Journal.
Did he get pardoned for that too?
Very liberal. The very liberal Wall Street Journal.
I mean, look, the narratives here are just patently, aggressively manipulated and false. There's nothing about these people. They're not fucking geniuses. Yeah, I know everybody on the earth has founder fetish that's slowly eroding as we see actually what they're like.
Still?
Right? Like, because what we're realizing is the vast majority of these people who are running the earth, Zuckerberg, Sergey and Larry, Musk, all these people, they have manipulated a system. They're middle school nerds who all got wedgies, who learned to manipulate a system so that they look better than they actually are.
Well, worse than that, Matt, they've insulated themselves against oversight, against their own investors. If you really had founder fetish, if you really believed in these chuckleheads, get rid of all the dual class, the dual share, all the
what do they need that for?
Insulate
they
themselves.
Don't need it. They don't need it.
Exactly. What do they need it for? Exactly.
You'd be fine. I'm going to go with the story of the week is Trevor Milton. I do think that is the perfect encapsulation
Has to be.
of what's going on. I know Signal was the kind of conversation of the week, but this is like a footnote in the death of the meritocracy and the rise of the middle school cosplayer.
It won't be covered widely. Unfortunately, all the details, the lessons, what it means for the future, what it means for the current, all of it is going to be just bypassed.
I mean, what incentive, if you're an investor, do you have, or if you're a founder of any company, if you're any publicly traded company, now the incentives are very simple incentives, and they seem like economic incentives, but let me tell you, the long term, these are not economic incentives. They work to your a detriment. It is you donate massive amounts of money to Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and you do fraud. I mean, there is no so the investors. You are the only guard here against literally what Trevor Milton's doing. You're the guard. In fact, Trevor Milton's quote at the end of this is, "Prepare yourselves for an American comeback story." He talks about himself coming back and doing something amazing.
Well, and there'll be investors lining up.
Do not fucking fund him. That's the point.
They will, Matt.
You can't look at these things and say the long-term cash flows look appropriate based on your projections, and I really think the idea has the ability to take off, and your ability to raise money is fabulous. So my next round of funding will, my valuation will go up. Those are all the wrong metrics. Analyze the people.
FOMO. They have investor FOMO.
Analyze the human beings. Because that's what private equity, that's what investors say. We got told we ride winners. That's what we got told once, that we ride winners. And they meant managing teams. We ride winning management teams. When we went to venture capital as free float to go get capital, they said we only care about we're looking at the founders. We want to scrutinize the founders. But no one is actually scrutinizing the founders. Otherwise, you wouldn't get Adam Newman, Trevor Milton, Travis Kalanick. What kind of scrutiny are you doing? You're doing FOMO scrutiny, which is somebody else thinks you're worth money, so I'm just going to invest in you.
Mm-hmm. And I don't want to miss out. Yeah,
I don't want to move on. I hate everything. All right, let's do something. This is Goodliest. Do you have good things?
Yeah, come on. I kind of have a couple that are sort of good, I guess. You go ahead
all right.
first, though.
I just like I'm just going to read some headlines.
You're seeing more tongue-in-cheek. Yeah.
I'll do both of mine because they're both kind of the same thing. This guy makes over $100,000 a month selling anti-Elon Musk stickers for Tesla.
It doesn't make me feel
I just
good.
love that somebody looked at a problem and they said, I know how to fix this.
Why didn't we just do that? Why didn't we? We should have just sold anti-director stickers.
Is anybody going to put that on their car?
How is he? How is he succeeding? No, but we talk about Elon Musk all the time. We should have just made stickers.
I mean, if
why
you bought a Tesla,
why are we building great databases?
If you bought a Tesla in 2018, it cost you $80,000 to buy a Tesla, right?
I did not, yeah.
You may not be able to afford to sell that Tesla just because, right? Like because Elon Musk turned into a red dragon, and he's like Wedgie Musk is running the world into the ground now. So what's your option? This guy came up with it. This is brilliant entrepreneurship. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
I got this one. Tesla just got horrible new sales data from Europe. They're down 49%.
What a shock that Europe
in
hates
Europe.
them.
They can't sell a car anymore in Europe. I like that. That makes me smile.
Okay, mine. This is a headline from ESGtoday.com. I love ESGtoday.com. 84% of companies are keeping or accelerating their climate targets. According to research from PricewaterhouseCoopers, 47% of companies maintained their decarbonization targets in 2024. 37% actually increased their ambition. So this sounds like it could be good. Maybe.
Where? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this.
And finally, in a nod to pro DEI, although when you look at the women they've selected here, it has nothing to do really with this is just the meritocracy in action, because they found 4 very strong women to run their boards. SK Group appoints female chairs to 4 subsidiary boards. So even Asia now is ahead of us.
Subsidiary boards.
Okay, they're in our database, so they're still part of the freeflowanalytics.com empire. That's why I chose this one.
All I'm saying is we're both stretching pretty far to find some good headlines. Is what it feels like here.
Yeah. What's the winner here? Let's give the sticker guy.
Yeah, let's give it to Sticker Man. I mean, he's single-handedly saving Tesla owners from embarrassment.
It'd be funny if he was using that money to actually invest in Tesla.
I would love a Sticker Guy. Give us a call. We can, maybe we could work out something. We can figure out which directors have stickers.
Let's hear some assholes. Assholiest. Come on.
Really? You want to do this now?
Nah.
All right, there's only one high-level option. This is one theme of asshole, okay? I didn't go far and wide.
Good.
And I'm just giving you a headline and a person, a type of person to choose. Ass-kissing sycophants is your theme, okay?
Wait, didn't we do this one recently? Ass-kissing sycophant. That's
it's
redundant, no?
It's going to be a weekly thing.
Isn't a sycophant an ass-kisser?
Yeah. But I love a good redundant
You want to hammer the point.
You want to hammer the point, right? All right. So your first choice, you could choose companies, because here's the headline. New analyst forecast says X's advertising revenue is on the upswing, driven partly by fear.
Fear of what? Retribution from Trump and Musk?
Now we're at a point where you just gotta give them money. You just hand them some money,
or else
wherever you can hand it to them. Just give them some money.
Or else, the anti-trans Bud Light brigade will come and shoot your product or something.
Otherwise,
what are they
Trump
fearing?
is going to show up on MSNBC signing an executive order that says
no more
guy
Nikes
sucks because he didn't advertise on X. Yeah,
okay, fine.
I mean,
that's crazy. Crazy talk.
And this is, I'm only choosing one headline. There were 20 that I could have chosen for these. Your option number 2, states.
U.S. states.
U.S. states.
Yeah.
Corporate
including Canada
capital,
and Greenland, or not including Canada?
No, not including them yet. They're still okay. Corporate capital Delaware is changing its law in fight pitting corporate insiders versus investors.
Yeah, Delaware's been doing a lot of shuffling since Elon's been mad at them.
We are in a race to the bottom if you're a U.S. state. So Delaware basically instituted new laws that say if you are a dual class owner or it's a controlled company, you basically have unfettered rights. There's no minority shareholder rights anymore. There's nothing you can do.
And some say Delaware had already raced to the bottom. So this is intriguing.
Well, Texas is now under
the new bottom. The new bottom
is a new bottom. They're the new ass of corporate law, and so Delaware's trying to become the old. But
ironically powered by solar energy. Yeah.
So what's interesting about this is they basically passed it with no due process. They just passed it.
Let's be fair, though.
It was all secret and passed and quiet and took no amendments, and they just passed it as is because. Oh, Uncle Mark said he was uncomfortable being in Delaware anymore because he didn't have enough rights. As a guy who has multi-billion dollars and is a dual-class owner of a controlled fake public company, he didn't have enough rights.
This is all Delaware has, Matt. They don't have anything else.
Delaware has a lovely coastline. Have you seen it?
This is all they have. This is it.
Here's your third option.
Yeah.
Executives.
Ooh. Ass-kissing sycophantic executives.
I mean, we knew that they did this prior to the election, but this is like a new low to me.
Yeah.
This is an executive named Tim Stewart. He is also the president of U.S. Oil and Gas Association.
A trade group?
A trade group.
Yeah.
U.S. Oil and Gas Association president, ready to buy a Tesla to show solidarity with with innovators and builders.
Oh, stop! First of all, there was no innovation at Tesla. Elon Musk did. He's not a founder. They didn't create electric vehicles. I don't even know what we're talking about. They perfected nothing, including the purportedly the self-driving technology. That's never been done. It's actually
they're doing it in China. Waymo, they did that.
Yeah, but they're not doing it at Tesla. I don't even know what he's talking about. So really, it's solidarity with his middle school bully friends. It's not innovators and builders.
There we go. There's no other solidarity at this point.
Yeah.
I just love that an association whose literal lobbying position was anti-electric vehicle, anti-renewable energy.
Well, of course,
is now like. Thinks that we are going to be mildly confused, like, oh, he might have turned around because he's ready to buy a Tesla in solidarity with innovators and builders. Why don't you just suck Elon's dick right up on camera?
And you know that still at a dinner party, if he walks into a dinner party and it's Mary Barra and Elon Musk, he's going over to sit by Elon.
Yeah, of course he is. He's not buying a Ford F-150 Lightning from the Ford family. He's not doing that.
Yeah.
Here's your fourth option. There's only two more options.
Uh-huh.
Regulators.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow.
I like the crowd reaction.
Crowd woke up. Yeah.
Here's the option. Here's the headline for regulators. Exclusive. Interim SEC chief casts sole vote against suing Musk.
What? First of all, there's a lot to unpack here. Why is it only an interim head of the SEC?
Trump has not appointed a new head of the SEC that has gone through a confirmation process or anything yet. So
why was he the only one? There are actually other people still left that are voting to sue Musk. I'm surprised by that.
So this is from the Twitter deal. This is they didn't sue him at the time, but Musk took a position in Twitter and did not disclose his position.
Absolutely did not.
This is black letter
and lied about the timeline of it. Yeah.
This is like an absolute it's not up for debate. It is he literally broke a rule, and it was a very simple rule. You have to disclose within like 5 days. He disclosed in 9. He pretended he didn't have it. But the whole thing is like he just ignored the rule because it was not expedient for him. It was not to his advantage to pay attention to the rule. So he ignored the rule. The SEC at the time did not sue him immediately because everyone was afraid of Elon Musk then. Mm-hmm. The SEC's the commissioners of the SEC are currently 3 Democratic appointed and 2 Republican appointed. Mm-hmm. Mark Ueda is one of the Republican appointed. He's currently the interim SEC commissioner. And Hester Pierce,
Your
our
favorite,
favorite,
yeah.
Hester Pierce, another Republican appointed commissioner. UADA is the only one. Hester Pierce sided with the Democrats. UADA is the only one who said we shouldn't sue Elon Musk
Is this someone
for
who was
blatantly breaking a rule 5 years ago.
Is this a Trump appointee or a holdover from a previous administration?
I believe he's a Trump appointee from Trump 1.
From
right?
Trump 1, got it.
But the point here is, what are you fucking doing? Like, this is... If you're an American investor, what's the point now?
He's letting the meritocracy work. You just have to, you got to let go. He's letting the meritocracy
Between Trevor
function.
Milton and Musk doesn't get sued, you have no rights as an investor.
But you
none.
do know that this
and you wasted your rights when you had them by not voting, but now you have none.
This is how the meritocracy functions, you realize. This is how it operates.
Come on, when Hester Pierce thinks, okay, it's a little too far. Like, Hester Pierce is literally the master of the slippery slope argument in SEC legal circles, right? Like, she was hand-wringing about every DEI thing years before anybody else was. She was... like, I've read many of her
maybe she
posts
lost her
and
glasses
decisions.
in this vote. Maybe she didn't know what she was voting for.
I love her because it's like it was so oh my God, like the government overreach, everything was government overreach. When she is saying, this one's hard to really say we shouldn't. This is like a black letter rule. There's no question here. We absolutely need to if we want to have any credibility. I could have chosen like Supreme Court cases, but this one just drove me nuts for regulators.
Well, maybe she already knows that Doge is going to get rid of the SEC. Maybe
that could be true.
Anyway.
I mean,
all right, what else you got?
Trump did say he's going to find something new for Linda McMahon now that her job is to dismantle the Department of Education.
Just depressing me. What else you got?
Last one is Boeing. It's the only one where I picked one company, right? Because the first one is all companies. But Boeing is a special case because of this headline. Trump says Boeing will build a new fighter jet to celebrate his presidency, the F-47.
Oh.
I mean that's what we're doing now. Like we're literally like licking the ass of presidents by naming bomber jets after them while they're in office.
But you know the real background for the story, right?
Yeah, they're trying to get out of their guilty plea.
Yes, they want Trump to let it out of a guilty criminal plea agreement that it reached with the Biden administration. So it wants Trump essentially to pardon it like they did Trevor Milton.
Yep, that's
and
correct.
You know what? It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
Because
it's
really,
100% chance.
It's that transactional. It's that easy.
But it's not even a good transaction. What did you fucking get? A number on a bomber plane, and they get they get absolved of killing hundreds of people. People.
Doesn't matter.
Actually killing. That's not rolling a fucking truck down a hill. That is killing people.
All right.
So those are your options: companies, states, executives, regulators, or just Boeing.
I mean, to me, there's a clear winner here because it's
really
maybe it's just the audacity of the optics, but the U.S. Oil and Gas Association president. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why do we need to align ourselves with just another dude who runs companies? Like what?
I almost made that headline yesterday because it was so funny.
But really, I would like to know. It's not like he's like. Dr. Fauci. I mean, who really is Elon Musk? What so far are his contributions to the human race? Like, what do we really need?
He took a tunnel under Las Vegas.
But what do we actually need from him at this point that we're worried that if he goes away, we're not going to get? The worship of him to me is so empty that I don't even. Again, like. I would get it if it was someone who was, making literal contributions instead of like helping to fire healthcare workers. Maybe he was actually doubling the size of our healthcare workforce. Just doing things that were for our infrastructure, for actual innovation. I still yet to someone reach out to the show. If you're a pro Elon Musk supporter, what has he actually contributed to the United States of America? Honestly. Other than like the dream of unfettered wealth and domination that some weird Americans seem to aspire to. Other than the movie, the villain from a movie, like with huge piles of money, what has he contributed to the American dream?
Well, I do think like that American ethos where you look at the guy with $200 billion and say, that could be me.
From South Africa?
There's some chance that could be me.
While we're busy crapping on every other nation, we're America first, and we want to keep kissing the ass of the South African.
I'm just saying that's a powerful image
it's
to
bizarre.
Some people.
It's strange.
And I got a message for you.
It's odd.
It's not you. It's not going to
really,
be you.
It's odd.
It's never going to be you. It's not going to be you.
The meritocracy is foul and odd. The meritocracy smells like Sully's locker.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? There's a whiff of like 18-month-old peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and like BO stank from the gym uniform.
I was just at the community center gym, and there is that like it's like that mix of like moist bleach and
moist
old
flip flop
socks.
mold. Yeah.
It's really.
I don't really get. It's
really great.
Come on.
All right, let's go on to Headlinius. This is like the most depressing show we might have ever done in the history
you know what?
Of the
to
show.
be fair, and we had a listener. Forget who it was. No one. The reality is, Matt, that none of our listeners want to be named because they're probably
terrified.
working at actually important companies and jobs, and they don't want it to be outed that they listen to us. But we did have someone reach out that was particularly worried about my psyche because I sound depressed.
That's right. I remember.
But they should be more worried about you. I think you're
right
the dark
now.
soul.
So look, I spend a lot of. I live in the data. I live in this data on a daily basis.
Yeah, I live in the headlines. You live in the data.
And like between me reading the headlines that you're curating, which are 90% horrible, 98% horrible.
Yeah, I need PTSD health coverage.
And or a salary, whichever one comes first.
Let's not talk about that.
And my living in this data. I mean, we've amassed 220,000 directors. Their knowledge, of course, 170,000 of them, performance, like connections through
a lot of accounting
nonprofits.
knowledge.
In fact, we just got written up today in a magazine, Agenda magazine,
good.
that goes out to directors, and it talks about the problem of their interlocks on nonprofits that no one has ever talked about before. When you live in the data and you realize like, oh my God, all I see all day is an interconnected web of bros who effectively... Mostly bros who effectively have created a system where they're unimpeachable. If you want to sit on a board forever, you just do. Literally no one cares.
Matt, we've pointed out...
It just drives you nuts.
The data points out. We have pointed out for years. Once you make the board, that's it. Because there's actually no methodology to evaluate performance other than using freeflowanalytics.com. Investors don't care. And even if you commit fraud, you're going to get pardoned anyway. But there's actually, once you're there, that's it. You're part of the brotherhood. You're never. I mean, they're just going to add you to other boards just by being there.
Here's the worst part, and this will describe for the two listeners that we have why I'm in the mental state that I am. So this week I interviewed a law professor named Sarah Hahn at Washington and Lee. Amazing woman doing super interesting work. I've been reading a lot of her research papers or articles. She talks about the idea of rational apathy and how investors effectively have cultivated this idea that it is economically rational to not vote in the alternative democracy, to not care about who's on a board, because as long as the stock goes up, it's too expensive to care. And there's no upside to caring. We've shown no correlation to returns, all this kind of stuff. So what you end up with is a self-perpetuating system of mostly men who choose themselves to make millions of dollars a year and run massive organizations. And the byproduct of rational apathy has been an understanding, because of casual indifference from investors, an understanding of how to manipulate a system so you never lose power. Mm-hmm. In fact, culling from authoritarian playbooks. It's effectively an authoritarian system in the corporate democracy. And the thing that she's been talking about recently is what we're seeing with Elon Musk is taking the corporate authoritarian playbook in which you constantly move the goalposts. Like, oh, you want to file a shareholder proposal? Well, this year it's got to be 20 days before. Last year it was 30 days before. Like that, changing or 70 days before, whatever.
Yeah.
Like you're constantly moving.
Or you used to have 20 minutes to present the proposal. Now you have 5 minutes.
Now you have 5 minutes on the annual meeting. Or engine number one. Oh, congratulations. You've managed to elect 3 new directors to the Exxon board. Well, the next year they add 2 more directors. They increase the size of the board to wipe out any influence that those directors might have had.
How about what Exxon did just by simply suing proponents?
And just sue your shareholders and just go right past the share. Like, these are all tricks that corporate leaders have learned to maintain absolute domain and power over their companies.
Yeah. Insulating themselves from everybody but themselves.
And what you're seeing with Musk and a number of when these business leaders are moving into the political realm, the political democracy, not the corporate democracy, is they port all of the tricks over. Yeah. And it creates a system of effective authoritarianism. Yeah. Donald Trump was a quote air quotes businessman. Whether or not he was a nepo baby and sucked at business is immaterial. His business process was effectively to create a system in which he was unchallengeable. He was not he would
filled
sue
with insiders
anybody.
and family members. Yeah,
insiders, family members, sue anybody who he didn't like. Don't pay your contractors, don't pay your vendors. He was a horrible business person with absolute power. Yeah. And now she's been talking about, and the interview's going to cover this. She's been talking about this idea of you're just seeing the corporate democracy, which we talk about all day long, play out in the real political democracy that affects everybody.
Absolutely. So what you've seen more than anything in the first 2 months of this Trump administration is a man who is firing his boards, his committees.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
To be clear, what Doge is doing is really firing oversight. It's firing guardrails. I know people are rightly focused on government employees losing their jobs because it's a heinous thing and a sad thing. But really what they're doing is they're removing guardrails.
That's right.
Yeah, so she's right.
And when you talk to someone like Sarah Hahn, who I cannot recommend her reading enough. She's fabulous. When you talk to somebody like that and then you read the news stories, you don't feel good about yourself.
Okay, can we move on? You're killing me here.
All right, we're on Headline News of the Week. I think I already played us in. Why don't you do one of yours?
Well, the first one is fitting because it's definitely not going to cheer you up.
Great.
ChatGPT might be making its most frequent users more lonely.
Oh.
Study by OpenAI and MIT Media Lab suggests.
Oh, OpenAI was part of that study?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, come on. We know that's happening. And one more, just on that vein. Here's the headline from Business Insider. I'm a former Google executive who's manipulated people to get what I want. When done right, it's an essential career skill.
Oh, yeah. What?
Look, I mean...
It's called the meritocracy, baby. Yeah. That's what merit looks like.
What do you got?
I got 2. The Ford executive who kept score of colleagues' verbal flubs.
Okay, now you should have put this in good list because this is a nice, happy story.
You had a couple favorites in this. The short version of this is there is an executive at Ford who just retired who kept meticulous notes about malaprops and just poor language in meetings, in presentations of his colleagues. Yeah. And using idioms and stuff to somehow just years. All wrong.
The one I liked the most was let's not reinvent the ocean. Although I'm kind of mixed. I have mixed feelings about that. Part of me wants to reinvent it, and a part of it agrees. Let's leave it alone.
I mean, here's some more examples. Ready? Too many cooks in the soup.
Okay. Yeah.
Or I'm not trying to beat a dead horse to death.
Yeah. Do you think his coworkers liked this guy or hated him?
I think he wrote this down by himself.
Right, but there must have been. But he was also probably the guy putting up signs on the microwave, right? Like passive aggressive notes.
Yeah.
I do love this story, though.
It is a fabulous story. I like. You could read it. It's in the Wall Street Journal, and it's. I actually wish we had this for every single company. I want to know the level of stupid sayings at every company.
Yeah. What else?
The last one I have is NASA deletes comic book about how women can be astronauts.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Well, I mean, they can't be. So that's that's why they deleted the comic book. Who won the week for you? Let's get out of this show
to me,
forever.
It's easy. It's the Mormon Milton. It's the Church of Latter-day Saints CEO extraordinaire Trevor Milton. I mean, this is a big. I mean, I know he's saying it's only like the best day in the last 5 years, but still, it's a pretty big win.
It's a pretty big day. Yeah, it's a big day.
What do you got?
I similarly like the Church of Wedgie Day Saints. The middle school boys cosplaying as adults.
But that's going to be the year, the next 4 years, unless like there's a miracle in the midterm elections.
All I'm doing, but I just want to hammer this for the next 2 years because investors, you can be adults. Be adults. And if you're a European investor in a U.S. company, this is your moment to shine.
Put yourself on the line. Take a chance. Take a risk.
Like Bailey Gifford did an amazing thing by cutting their Tesla stock because Musk's a crazy person, right? Like
you know how you go home 99% of the year you go home and your children look at you and you look at your children and you're like, they don't know what I do. I don't know how to like communicate with them about what I'm contributing to the world. Take a risk, and then maybe your kids will they'll like you again. Maybe they'll be like, "Oh, mommy, daddy."
They won't.
Like it's interesting. That's how you're fighting back. That's interesting.
I do think though, like if you're on a stewardship team at a massive institutional investor, at a pension fund, at something like that,
which we know you are,
if you are voting a proxy, you have some like a bit part in voting proxies. You can now feel confident that vote matters because the corporate democracy is becoming the political democracy, and it started in the corporate democracy. Musk does not get funded at all to buy every single election if the board doesn't pay him. You don't have a playbook of authoritarian rule in the corporate democracy if you vote a certain way. Actually, what you're doing, you can look at those same kids that you have that when they don't understand what Damien said, and you can say to them, "I am protecting democracy." That's what you can say.
And to be clear, this is not a political statement. We might happen to have certain beliefs about the political system in America, but the data can be used in any way you need to actually to stop being such a passive investor is the point. Like you don't have to roll over and have ISS tell you there's nothing to now that Nelson Peltz is gone, there's nothing to do anymore, nothing to see. You can actually you can have an opinion. It's just like you do when you go into the normal democracy, into those voting booths at your stinking kids' school
gymnasium. Yeah,
you can actually do the same thing at the alternative democracy. But let's move on. Predictions.
All right, what are your predictions?
Mine's very easy. That we always do 2050, 2040, 2030 kind of things. Trevor Milton's definitely getting arrested again by 2030.
Oh, I like that prediction.
Yeah,
probably just for like a DUI.
Something awful, something foul. Yeah. What do you got? What's your?
Mine is after this show, I'm going to get lunch and take a nap. Only
except that there's another show to record
because we got to do another show. Yeah. So it's not even true. That's it. That's Hazelnut Rollis. I'm your analyst, Matt Moscardi. We are Free Float. If you like this, and I don't know why you would, but
I don't know why you would either.
Like, just subscribe. Give us a rating. I don't know. What do people do with podcasts? Don't they like engage with us? Send us emails. Ask us your questions. We'll analyze.
You can also engage with the platform. You can subscribe, get an API. You don't even have to listen to the shows if you want to.
Yeah. Big thanks to our sponsor, FreeFlow Analytics. Go to freeflowanalytics.com. You can look at their free platform, and they've got not free stuff that is way more compelling. I've seen it all. It's fabulous. So you can get that too. But stay tuned for our proxy countdown this week. Next week, we're going to have Sarah, or actually 2 weeks from now, we'll have Sarah Hahn's show drop. There's a lot of stuff coming up, so stick around. Until then, good